And so anyway, great car. We do these events. Our next event after that will be the financial rollout coming out in June 12th. We're going to do that at Luster Pearl, I think, and probably have 300 or 400 people for a watch party. A watch party for corporate earnings. This is how we have fun. Yeah, so
I don't want to come to your walks anymore.
The watch party.
Hey, I love Tesla. I invested in Tesla when the pandemic happened. I made a shit ton of money, and I'm half the reason I am in Austin is because of Tesla.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. They're in a phenomenal company, and getting in your Cybertruck, you know, you look at the Cybertruck and you're like, how is this thing, like, how is that going to, like, what's the experience going to be?
Yeah.
And after getting in it for 5 minutes, I was like, I fucking got to get one.
Oh. It's crazy. It drives like it's on rails. It's insane.
Yeah.
I heard it drives like a Rolls Royce.
It drives like a Rolls Royce.
Cleanness.
I can throw that into a corner at 50 miles an hour. It hugs the ground.
Feels
incredibly.
Like when he's driving, you're like, holy fuck, this is so smooth.
Well, and it's steer by wire. What that means is your steering wheel is not attached to the drivetrain, and so it gives the appropriate amount of feedback that it deems necessary. Right. So when I was driving this dirt track the other day and broke a few components on the outside, but nothing, you know, mechanical.
Yeah, I noticed it was a little beat up when we came in.
It's got there's some bits that I've screwed in.
It's got 3 more on the way though, or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, well, 2 more of those in a Roadster, but yeah,
you're getting a Roadster?
Oh, bro, yes, the Founder Series Roadster.
I never see many of those. I can't wait.
Well, this is a brand new Roadster. It's supposed to be the 2020 Roadster. It's 2024, so it missed by a couple of years. But Elon refers to it as the cherry on top. And the 0 to 60 time for that, when he rolled it out in I think 17, was like 1.90 to 60. Well, my Plaid S goes 1.90 to 60. This thing's they've revised down to 1 second. That's like I'm sitting at a stoplight. I'm going 60. That's insane. I mean, it's got to be 4 or 5 Gs. They're gonna need a Hans device to hold your neck and, like, you know, try not to rip the aorta out of your chest.
This is not the best car for you who has broken your neck already.
Yeah, I'll be all right. It's been a few years. I'll do some strength training.
You'll be fine.
I'll be all right. But
you just gotta let the other people in the car know what you're about to do.
Don't tell them. Don't tell them.
Yeah. I tell everybody. I'm like, put your head back. They're like, oh yeah, whatever. And then you hit the accelerator. Like, I get it.
Oh, I built a Plaid and I was blown away. So I can't even imagine going faster than the Plaid.
Twice as fast.
That's insane.
Twice as fast. Because people are like, oh, the difference between 1.9 and 1 second.
No, it's half.
It's twice as frigging fast. Jeez. And so then the question is, like, you know, how do you not shred the tires with all that torque? So he's got a SpaceX package that I'm getting on mine that includes 10 jet packs. You're going to replace the tiny back seats, kind of Porsche-sized back seats, with air compression tanks. Jeez. And so in order to get the launch, you know, at a certain point, you can have 10,000 horsepower equivalent in a car, but the wheels will never pick up, right?
Yeah.
And so in order to get over that, there's going to be a puff of wind.
There's literally rockets.
There's literally rockets that'll launch you. So just go poof, and you're gone, right? So that's going to be fun. And Elon joked, kind of, we'll see if it happens. He's like, I'd like the rockets also to point down in the car to be able to levitate like 5 or 6 inches. Once again,
just hop over things.
Fun. Like this, I'm like, that's what I love about Elon. He just puts fun shit in the cars.
100%. That's the thing that I really appreciate about Tesla is the like random little Easter eggs and fun things that he'll put in there, like Joe mode. Yeah. It's like, just turn all the notifications off, call it Joe mode.
Yeah. Fart noises, you know, whatever horn sounds you want, light shows you can put on.
Plaid is a reference to Spaceballs. Like there's so many Spaceballs references. And
it goes to 11 from Spinal Tap, right? Like, you know. Yeah. What's so great about this? It goes to 11. It's like, well, why don't you just make 10 louder? You don't understand. This goes to 11. You know when you're at 10 and you just need a little more? This gives you that little more. But you can make 10 louder. It's classic. So all the stereos go to 11 because of Spinal Tap. So there's all these goofy, stupid shit.
Do you think that Elon has a lot to do with that, or do you think it's the engineers?
Oh, that is 100%.
It's all Elon?
That is, Elon's got a good sense of humor. He's funny. And the funny thing is, we're exactly the same age, so we have the same references. So I like my favorite book was The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and he references that a ton. And so that was, you know, I actually met Douglas Adams in college. He signed one of my books. I love that series. It's dry English humor. It's friggin' hilarious. So like all of his reference points are like my same age growing up. We're both 52. And so, you know, the Star Wars, the Spaceballs, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the Monty Python, like Spinal Tap, like all those things are stuff that was like right there. That was my era. And so it's fun, you know, so.
What is taking the Cybertruck off-road like? Have you taken it off-road?
Easy. Yeah. I'll send you guys some videos. I was testing the track. I was going like 60 miles an hour down these little, dirt tracks. It was awesome. You don't want to hit a jump. It's 7,000 pounds. You're going to break something. I mean, it's not a light little Polaris. It's a beast. It's a friggin' tank.
Yeah.
So I didn't hit the jumps, but I did get a little air on a kind of winding one. It didn't feel good coming down. It was heavy. But when you're normally on a dirt track, you're kind of fighting the steering back and forth, and you're trying to keep it on. And with this, because of the steer-by-wire, I'm literally driving off-road 60 miles an hour on dirt tracks with one hand. And it's just giving enough feedback where I know when it's gone into a little rivet or something like that. And so it's incredible, the feedback. And at slow speeds, it says, oh, you want to turn and make a U-turn. So you literally one hand turn the wheel 90 degrees and all 4 tires turn. You can make a U-turn in like a little residential, like a Honda Accord. Like it's like whoop. And all of a sudden this 20-foot truck just makes a U-turn in a tiny space. It's incredible. So it's so much fun. I don't even drive my Plaid S anymore. I actually gave it to a friend of mine to drive because his car's in the shop. He's been driving it for like a month and a half and now he wants to buy it. And I'm like, I kind of like going 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds occasionally still, but the Cybertruck is by far the best daily driver. It's so much fun. And it's useful. You can throw shit in the back. I mean, when you put the tailgate down, it's 8 feet by 4 feet. You can put a sheetrock in there. And then you can roll the top up that's metal and put bikes and stuff, and it's, secure, waterproof. And then there's this little ice chest underneath the bed. So I have a mobile tailgate for my open houses and stuff. I just throw, some beer and some Topo Chico in there, and there's a bottle opener on the side, throw a bunch of ice in there. And there's plugs in the back bed where you can plug in, queso or whatever you want to and just do a tailgate.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like luxury on the inside and then just pure utility on the outside.
Yeah.
It's just like a perfect daily driver. And being in Texas, it's like, this is great. I could do everything with this.
So fun. It's so fun.
How close are we, do you think, to a really well-working summon mode?
Oh, well, it doesn't even have FSD right now. So the full self-driving component, Autopilot, has to learn the physics of the vehicle.
Oh, and it hasn't done that on Cybertruck yet.
They have. So they've got the software, so it knows how to identify things. And the other cars that are out there have billions of miles with that shape of the Model 3, the Model Y, the Model S. So I miss it, but I don't have any Autopilot, any FSD right now. So they're waiting for the car to learn. And so I'm sure they're piloting that internally with employees so that it can learn the physics. Because it's a almost 20 feet long and 6 feet wide or more, probably 7 feet wide. It's almost the width of a lane of traffic. So it's a big truck. So you want to make sure it knows what's around it and the AI is doing its job before you just release that. So
do the other vehicles have a good working summon mode?
Yeah.
Really?
Decent.
Last time
it's slow, it's spotty.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of a parlor trick. It's fine. Like, I'm going to stand in front of, Dick's Sporting Goods and press a button and get my car to me. Like, okay, but it's going to take it's so much faster to just walk to your car, right? It's more one of these things you just show off. Like, I've used it like once.
It's not that
great, but the full self-driving is awesome. I use that daily, and because I drive 2,000 to 3,000 miles a month, and I was showing a ranch in Elgin, and then I was in Dripping Springs, and then I was in Spicewood, and I was back in Westlake, and that was all yesterday. So I drive a ton. That Cybertruck that's 3 months old has 6,000 miles on it already. So I drive a ton, and having that full self-driving, so I can just double click and take a breath, and I'm not, fully focused, is great.
The one thing I didn't like, I love full self-driving, but the one thing I didn't like, I took a Model X on a road trip from here to, couldn't call it a road trip, but from here to Dallas, like a 3-hour drive. And sometimes it will fight me. And, you probably, like you've experienced, it'll stop you from doing something, like you try to change lanes or whatever.
Right.
And then now it's me versus the car.
Yeah.
And so I'm of the camp of either let me drive or I let you drive.
Right.
So I didn't like the having to battle thing, but I love the self-driving. Like you take over, I'll watch
it's not 100%. And that's the thing. Like, people are like, take the steering wheel out, just, hang out. You don't need, and I'm like, no, it's not there.
Still give me a steering
wheel. You better
wheel.
pay attention. Like, if there's an object in the road, it doesn't always see it, and you'll run over that at 70 miles an hour. You need to keep your eye on the road. But it allows you to, like, Dylan had a futsal tournament in Kansas City, and we drove up there in 13 hours with like 3 charging stops of 20 minutes each. And we got up there, and Anna's like, are you okay? Like, that was a long drive. You want to rest? I'm like, I felt like I was sitting in my living room for 13 hours. My butt's a bit sore, but I'm good. Let's go get dinner and hang out. And so it just, all the stress that low grade stress you don't think about while you're driving, from your foot and being in position to keeping your foot over the brake. And if you're on, cruise control, the steering and micro adjusting, it just goes away. And so it's pretty awesome. And it's as flawless as or better than really anything else that's out there. And it's just always learning and getting better.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I mean, I drive 2, sometimes 3 hours a day. So that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
You need a Tesla more than anybody.
Yeah. So you have 2 more coming?
2 more Cybertrucks.
Why? What are
you going to use them for?
Yeah. Are you giving them to us? Is it gifts?
Yeah. Is that 2 fun guys gifts? They both have, it says Brent on one and Tony on the other on the side.
So to get mine earlier, they didn't have the Cyber Beast, which is 850 horsepower. So I got the slower, less powerful, one.
So what is yours?
So mine is 600 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, which doesn't feel that fast to me. It's twice as slow as my Plaid. So it's passable, but it's nothing exciting. The next step up, the Cyber Beast, has 3 motors instead of 2 and is 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds, which is going to feel a lot quicker. So I enjoy speed. I like being able to pop it and, get back to freeway speed in a couple seconds. And so I'm just kind of used to it. And so I ordered this one because it came early and they hadn't rolled out the Cyber Beast. Well, now I have a Cyber Beast order, and then I have another Cyber Beast order that I'm supposed to ship to Kazakhstan. Anwar Beck, who's on my team, he was being groomed to be Prime Minister of Kazakhstan, worked in oil and gas, ran some crazy Mozambique pipeline. We met through the Tesla space. He was a president of a Houston club, and we met 7 years ago at a leadership summit for Tesla clubs. And I'm like, wait, you drive a Tesla and you work for the enemy? Like oil and gas, really, bro? Like, what's wrong with you? So I shamed him into quitting his executive. He was like the youngest VP at Anadarko. And he's like, you're right. Fuck this. I'm not going to work for the man. And he's like, you seem really cool. Like, you seem like you're killing it. I'm like, well, yeah, come work with me. And he's like, I'm going to do it. And I'm like, sure he is. I met this guy at the conference. Sure enough, 2 years later, he rolls into Austin. He'd gone to UT here, he's a petroleum engineer. And he's like, okay, I'm ready to get to work. And so we have so much fun. So he's partners with me in real estate and then partners in the Tesla Owners Club and does a bunch of other stuff. But he had been groomed in Kazakhstan to be, I don't know if it's president or prime minister, at any rate. So he's friends with some people there that are fairly powerful. So one of those Cybertrucks is going to get shipped off to Kazakhstan to somebody important there. So it's kind of fun. In Kazakhstan, people think like Borat. In reality, it's not that at all. I mean, the guy, Borat, is actually a British guy who's Jewish, right?
Yeah.
In Kazakhstan, it's the land bridge, and it's like 3 times the size of Texas, super heavy mineral-rich country, and it's the land bridge between China and Russia. So you have these like blonde, blue-eyed, Asian-featured people in some cases, and you're like, this exotic-looking people. Wow. And so I know more about Kazakhstan than I probably should because of him, and he keeps threatening to take me back. In fact, we were supposed to go back. Long story short, we were at the Ferrari pits, hanging out with a guy that owns a bunch of McLaren dealerships on the East Coast, and finds out Anwar Beck's from Kazakhstan. He's like, well, I'm a McLaren dealer, but I'm actually an arms dealer. And he's like, I'm selling 800,000 rifles to your country, and then they're going to end up Ukraine or wherever they're going to go. And he's like, you guys should come with me. And so Anwar Beck's like, cool, let's go. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to get in the middle of an arms deal. Like I saw War Dogs. Like I don't think I want to do this. So like, let's just say weird shit is always going on. And like, we end up hanging out with really interesting people. And I'm like, but anyway, the Kazakhstan thing is people ask all the time, like, what's the deal there? So one of the Cybertrucks going to Kazakhstan eventually, and may even be mine if I upgrade to the Cyber Beast. And then the next one, well, I'd keep. Anyway, and then the Roadster's coming sometime in 2025, I think. But that's going to be a blast.
Did you add mods to your Cybertruck or the one coming? Other than the engine?
I wrapped it in like a chrome finish because it has kind of a dull. That's the people like, oh, it rusts. It's like, well, if you left a stainless steel pot outside for a month, it would be dull. It's not going to be as shiny, and you have to do metal polish. So I didn't want to metal polish my car once a week with like barkeeper's friend, and so I wrapped it in a chrome vinyl wrap that you can just put through a car wash. It's easy. Plus, it's kind of what I wanted in the truck. I wanted it to look like a super shiny metal. And so now that's what it looks like. And of course, it's got my stupid logo on the side, which means it's a full marketing cost and total business write-off. So that's how I justify the depreciating asset.
There you go.
Because it literally, I don't take the mileage write-off. That's like a billboard. So I can write off the entire, everything I do to it and the purchase price, everything as a marketing cost. So highly encourage anybody to buy any car, slap a logo on the side.
Let's put the Two Fun Guys logo on our cars.
Seriously.
Yeah, let's do it.
Why not?
Go get it. Yeah, go get it.
Wrap them in Amanita.
Yeah,
That's actually not a bad idea.
We get pulled over so fast. Any other part of Texas other than Austin,
we could keep it
immediately in jail.
Stay in Austin. Yeah, cops would love it here. Austin cops.
I get pulled over all the time in the Cybertruck, and I've gotten out every ticket.
Why do you get pulled over all the time? No, speed.
Well,
just trying to check it out.
Just trying to check it out. I mean, bullshit stuff like it's 2 miles an hour, and I have a radar detector on all my vehicles. I drive a little quickly, I carefully, but if there's open road in front of me, I'm not afraid to hit the accelerator.
You're gonna gun it.
And so I've got pulled over like 7 times, and I just shoot the shit with them. I'm like, here's my card. If you want to go for a ride and take this thing out, this thing's friggin' bulletproof. Like this thing's badass. This should be a cop car for you guys. And by the time I made friends with them, they're like, warning, you're good. But like half the time it's just been bullshit.
Do they ever test it and then want to shoot it?
Have not had one shoot it, thank goodness, because I'm in the vehicle at the time.
You're both outside the car.
Yeah. Well, I haven't actually given one a ride, and I haven't followed up on it.
Okay,
but that's just a good protocol.
Totally.
Like a cop pulls you over, make friends with him. Just like I said, to the soft skills.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So sorry. Totally my bad.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing today? God, it's hot out there. I don't know how you're on that bike all day. You friggin' you using SPF, man. You just shoot the shit about whatever.
Totally.
And then all of a sudden, they're just like,
because they're looking at your energy. When you get like nervous energy, they're freaked out because crazy 100%. Shit happens to cops.
Or just
if you're just chilling with them. Yeah.
Or just be a dick. A lot of people just think, you see these stupid YouTube videos of these people instantly turning into dicks and rolling their window down this far. I know my rights. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, yeah, you're going to get pulled out and arrested and taken in. It's a great YouTube video, I guess. It's good content, clickbait. But do you want to end up in jail? Police officers do an important job, but realistically, if you just had a guy walking around with a side piece, how are you going to treat that guy? These are just dudes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like somebody walking around with a gun, I'm probably going to be pretty chill with that guy. You know what I mean? Just in general, guy's got a side piece. I really don't want to start something with this person. Not that I would start something, but that should go through your brain. I should probably treat this person with a modicum of respect. You know what I mean? And so it blows me away that people immediately go into that mode with police officers. It's like, guys pulling you over because you did something, just let them give you a ticket or not and go on your way. What's the damage? But anyway, so yeah, that's how kids, if they want to get out of tickets, just make friends with the cop when they pull you over. Just be nice.
Yeah, show respect. Those guys go through so much shit.
Oh, dude, that's a hard job.
Yeah,
you could not pay me enough.
Yeah, and you could be the one person after maybe 10 years of getting shit that he's finally like, fuck you. I'm just going to throw a couple of these extra tickets at you just because.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that guy.
No, he's having a bad day. You know what call he just came off of? Or, they deal with the dregs of humanity. They're just putting out fires with people that are just blowing shit up all over the place. Cut them some slack, so. But yeah, so radar detector helps though. That does give me a pretty good early warning. I upgrade every year just to make sure I'm ahead of the technology that the cops are using.
Smart.
But and it's legal in Texas, so not breaking the law.
Is it really?
Oh yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. My wife, I have so much paraphernalia. My wife, she gets in my car, she starts taking everything down, and I'm like, where'd my radar detector go? Where's my Elon Musk dressed as the Pope, air freshener that was hanging from the back? So yeah, anyway, my car looks a little bit like a garage sale, but it's like a Swiss Army knife. I live in it pretty much, so I've got anything I could possibly need on the road is in my car, because I'm in that 8 hours a day sometimes. It's crazy, but yeah, great car.
How does that radar thing work? You just plug it in, or
you just plug it in the cigarette lighter, and it picks up active radar, and then it picks up laser. But the spot on laser has to be if they've hit a car in front of you and the laser's bounced off the car, then it picks it up. But if they're waiting on just you and there's nobody in front of you and they just hit you, by the time the laser hits, it's over. They've already got you. So that's the most challenging one that you've got. But cops driving around just keep their regular radar on, you can smell them from a mile away, before they see you, so you can slow down.
Sweet. I need to get one of those.
Yeah. No, it's like $300. Saves you thousands in tickets and increased insurance cost.
And you don't have to take it down if you do end up.
No, I leave it up there. I get pulled over.
Because in Washington, they are illegal, so you would have to take them down real quick if you did get pulled over, or pass a cop and throw it in your glove box.
Well, and if you don't want to, I don't even think about it. I get pulled over and it's a radar detector stuck, and the windscreen on the Cybertruck is I don't even know, 6 feet long. I can't even get back to it. You put it up at the front. And like, it's literally, I'd have to lay on my dash to pull it out of there. The guy'd be like, what is this guy doing? You know, so, and they don't care. I mean, you know, it hasn't been a big deal. So I would definitely highly encourage if you even speed a little bit. Because especially if you ever go to Williamson County, those guys will pull you over for any reason. And so, yeah, radar detector, it's not a bad thing.
Have you been able to tour the Tesla facility? We drove by it on our way to Eclipse Festival.
Yeah.
It is one of the most impressive buildings I've ever seen.
Yep.
Just, it goes and goes and goes. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
You know, so you've had the opportunity to tour most of it?
I've been there a few times, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost a mile long. You're on the freeway and it just takes 60 seconds to drive by. And it's, I said, eighth of a quarter mile wide. I want to say a quarter mile. It's on 2,500-ish acres. And there's actually room on the pad, the land that he owns there to build 3 or 4 more of them. And all the employees I've worked with refer to that as phase 1. So going back to real estate for a second, you know, you talk about like Amazon and the Bezos effect and the Gates effect in Seattle and what that's done over the last 30 years, right? It's going to be eclipsed by what the Elon effect is here. People don't understand how large and how much land he's acquiring. He has tens of thousands of acres at this point. He's renamed, obviously, Tesla because of that stupid Delaware lawsuit for his pre-negotiated $55 billion package that he hit performance on. So he's moving headquarters for Tesla officially in Texas. He's renamed SpaceX as headquarters here. I'm working with a number of SpaceX engineers coming out of Manhattan Beach who are like, hey, I'm getting ahead of the wave. So you're talking about right now their R&D and manufacturing is in Hawthorne. I think that's all moving this direction, especially considering Waco has their testing facility for SpaceX, and the launch site that he created is in Brownsville. So everything's in Texas already. And so each one of these companies are going to be multi-billion, if not trillion-dollar, really, SpaceX and Tesla will be trillion-dollar companies in the next 7 to 8 years. Just the growth story on them is phenomenal. Tesla is not a car company. And that's the fatal flaw. People are like, oh, you compare it to Mercedes, it makes no sense. The P&E doesn't make any sense. It's like, well, he's developing an AI software that you can put into lawnmowers and humanoid robots and all this stuff that are basically going to interpret where their surroundings are and move within space. So you've got robotics and robotics AI software, full self-driving for vehicles that's going to be better than anything else, and has just got billions of miles that are coming online for that, you know, that the high reps on that. You've got Starlink, which is going to circle the globe in Wi-Fi. You're going to be able to give a kid in Africa a $30, smartphone, and he'll be able to have access to the internet. I mean, he's doing rockets to make us interplanetary mining, literally life insurance for humanity. You know, if we fuck this planet up too bad and our green planet goes away, if we're interplanetary, humanity has a chance of surviving in the universe, right? And so he's literally giving us life insurance as a species. He's changed every bit of, terrestrial transportation. And I don't even know how he does what he does. I mean, any one of those companies would be huge, but then the companies underneath it, NVIDIA's chip manufacturing, he's working on a chip specifically just for his suite of companies that's probably going to be better than NVIDIA. Nobody gives credit for that under the umbrella of what Tesla owns. So if you actually look at Tesla, there's like 6 or 7 companies underneath it. If anything happened and they split them apart, the values would be huge for each of these individual companies, but they call it Tesla, a car company. And they don't really understand all this suite of things that he owns underneath it. Battery production. It's the pig and the python. If we're going to transition to electric vehicles, you're going to run out of batteries. He's going to own the battery and mining to be able to create, Mercedes now run by Tesla batteries, right? So all of these pieces are, significantly undervalued. And then we get to be the epicenter for every goddamn company. Are you shitting me? And the growth story has just started. There was nothing here 3 years ago. Now you've got an 11 million square foot factory as phase 1. You've got SpaceX moving here. You've got Starlink building their second manufacturing plant in Bastrop. You've got Neuralink out there. That's, allowing people, quadriplegics, the ability to use their brains and their thoughts to be able to manipulate a screen, to read, to turn pages, to play chess, to play video games. It's insane how many different areas of humanity he's touching. And they're all here and they're all growing and expanding. And so that's aside from the rest of the Googles and the Amazons and the Apples that we have here. And so it's a remarkable time. People look back in 15 years and go, of course, this created this massive billions of dollars of economy for Austin. Of course. Right now, going forward, people haven't connected the dots. They don't understand the growth that's coming. Going back to housing, you probably want to buy a house before we get to a point where, we're 4 million people by the mid 2030s, and a lot of them are tech workers working for Elon that can afford to buy the houses that are going to be snatched up. So
yeah, imagine if you have a house in 20 years from now, you're going to be doing pretty good on your investments.
Go back 20 years. The best time to buy is always 5 years ago. Yep. Always. Pick a time. 5 years ago was a better time to buy. Go forward 5 years. People are going to be looking back at 2024 going, God damn, I should have bought a house in 24. I could have got closing costs. I could have got interest rate down. I could have got a price that was reasonable. Now they're $2,000 a square foot, or whatever in 20 years, right? It's also the problem with humanity. We think the way things are the way they're always going to be. Like, we live in the present, and it's hard. Well, it's like Steve Jobs said in some famous speech in 08, you can connect the dots going backwards. My life is no exception. My life makes no sense going forward with all the crazy shit that happened to get me to where I am now. But so going forward, you can't predict what you can make the next micro step that's logical and good. That's about all you can do. Going backwards is the only way to do that. Trying to connect the dots going forward just with these companies moving here in the trajectory for Austin. And I'm trying to figure out what could break that, right? If we become anti-business, if we start discouraging people from moving here, there's a number of things that could slow it down, but the trajectory we're on is remarkable. And it's been an exciting 16 years since we got here. Next 16, going to be twice as exciting. I'm so excited. I'm so happy to be in Austin and be in like the epicenter for all this cool shit. So anyway, it's fun. And
I agree. I think Austin's an amazing place to be, and it's just going to keep changing. And you'll hear people like, oh, it's not the old Austin. It's like, dude, think about 30 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, any city, you could say the same shit.
Sure.
New York wasn't the same. This isn't the same. It's like, but yeah, like you're saying, there's so much business. And what I love about Texas is I feel like they really let businesses just go for it.
Yeah.
They just let them run. But I'm curious, why hasn't Elon, or is Elon coming up with some kind of help for the grid of Texas? Because that thing is like an old generator trying to run. And if you're building these huge factories, how's it going to work? And then if you have your own independent energy grid from the US, I feel like you would want to have a backup system or a much more efficient system. And he's building all this technology. I feel like he should redesign the whole energy system to support everything in Texas.
He and ERCOT are in conversation. Elon doesn't.
That's what I'm most.
Elon's not good.
Comes up with
it sounds funny because on one hand he's got Trump syndrome with Twitter. In my opinion, he needs to I swear he just the free 2 seconds he's got taking a shit. He's like tweeting off bullshit. It's like, bro, nobody needs to hear your politics or any of this stuff. I love you. Agree or disagree with you. Nobody cares. Right? Like, you had all these, the left, where you were a darling of the left because you made electric vehicles. Then you came out as a libertarian. They all friggin' hate you now. The right already hated you because they like their diesel driving, trucks and all the rest of it. You probably have more in common. Maybe you won a few of them, but there's like 10% of people that like you. And then the other sides hate you. Like, Why politics and religion? Why are we talking about it? And so I appreciate why he created Twitter. I understand it. I think it's great to have something that's, doesn't have the restrictions on it from either side. I appreciate that. Was it a wise financial move? Probably not. So I appreciate the ethos behind it, but like he gets a little excited and just says whatever the hell he wants. On one hand, some people think that's great. He's just a loose cannon. He'll say whatever he wants to. On the other hand, bro, like the stock would probably be doing better if you stayed the fuck off Twitter.
From like a shareholder perspective, not great. But from a human perspective, I love that. I love that he just trolls
the fuck
out
of the guy.
100%.
But as a shareholder, I'm like, God damn, I'd probably be sitting at 500 if you just stopped twatting about the, the friggin'.
I love that he smokes weed on Joe Rogan, but then it fucks up all the stock.
Right, exactly. for dumbass reasons.
For dumb reasons.
Well, it's the same thing, like, all the clickbait bullshit. And I got to be careful because I got interviewed on all these articles and I got to try to figure out how they're spinning it because it's New York Times or Wall Street Journal have very different thoughts when I get an interview about real estate or Tesla or a combination thereof. And they kind of come with their pre-thought out ideas about what's going on. And you look at the clickbait. If it says, Elon did something horrible or Tesla in the shitter, guess what? They get tens of millions more clicks. When you say Austin, who's kind of the cool kid in the city sphere, right? Austin falling off a cliff, companies running away from Austin, economy in the toilet, going to be the worst year in 25 years, all this crazy stuff that I know is complete bullshit, but it's because, I mean, is there even any news these days?
No.
They all are out there to promote clickbait. Every single one of them is just looking for clicks. That's how they get bonused at their job. There is no, I don't think there's a third party news source out there that's a legacy news source that you can like go, oh, I 100% believe this on either side. Fox News is out of their brains. Wall Street Journal has certain ideas, right? New York Times, forget about it. They came out and interviewed me, followed me around for 2 days and made me look like I don't even know what. I'm like, really? That's the slant? Like, I accommodated this lady for all these days. I took great care of my clients and, they're describing me as a, slick back, I had long hair at the time, greasy, sandy blonde ponytail. I mean, I'm like, okay,
dirty fucking hippie,
you're
Matt.
criticizing this dirty hippie who's driving around a Tesla. And anyway, it was just like, it's really interesting to see these slants. We even had one about the Cybertruck and this lady doesn't even interview me. And I like my numbers out there on the Tesla Club and starts writing about like, well, they better get all these Fords out there to start pulling these Cybertrucks out of there that are going to break and end up in a mud pit and not be able to get out. I'm like, okay, that's your slant on the event we're doing for free for the public to come and see Cybertrucks and driving them on a truck. Like, what are we doing that's so bad other than having fun? And like, that's your slant from the Houston Chronicle. Cool. I'll remember that.
Because they know people love to
hate on shit.
Yeah, they love to hate. Yeah. And they're like, yes, I love this article. I'm going to send it
in the basements, twittering about stuff and, oh, I'm a troll. I just got up somebody, it's just dumb. And,
there are a few industries that should not be for profit. That's healthcare, education, and news.
100% agree.
And that is 90% of the world's problems.
100% agree. 100% agree. It's a shame. And so that's why I do respect what he's done with X. It's certainly not perfect, but I respect that. And that it's, hopefully going to become a news source that people can at least go to for a variety of opinions, not a, here's my slant. You already know it going into it. You know what CNN's going to say. You know what Fox is going to say, like right out the gate before they even start.
I think those are honestly on the way out. They're dying. I think they have some of the lowest numbers. And I think more and more podcasting is going to grow, and you'll probably have more maybe podcasters that are news sources to do long form. Yeah. It's hard to trick people when you can have a 2-3 hour conversation with somebody and you're able to listen to the whole thing versus just a tiny soundbite, edit how you want, post it, do all these different things. So I really think that's the future. Yeah. And the podcast industry, people say this all the time, like, oh, everyone's got a podcast. It's like, think of all the people who've written a fucking book. Yeah. And one of my buddies, he's talking about opening up in the UK industry. Europe is even touched. Yeah. Not even touched at all with the podcast industry, barely. And it's just going to start growing. Wow. So now you're going to get, also with AI, take a Rogan episode, they're going to be able to, Spotify is going to put technology where it can auto dub their language. Badass. So you're going to be able to hear our thoughts, our perceptions, our nuanced views that the government, like say you're in Spain and you're seeing, or you're in Palestine, you're seeing the media and thinking that's what all Americans think. And now you get to hear somebody who's having these different conversations with people and be like, oh shit, that's what's going on with Americans. And same for us. Now we get to hear like a bunch of Australians talking shit about what they think about what's going on. You're like, oh, I didn't know all these nuances going on. Yeah. It's going to connect us so much more. News is fucked.
Yeah, I agree. And I love the long form. I love this. This is fun because it turns into like a really organic conversation. It's not like, okay, well, we'll be back in 2 minutes and you got 30 seconds to say whatever the hell you want. And then I'll throw a jab and then we're done. And we roasted you. And you know what I mean? Like, it's
and those
like,
announcers come, lame. The interviewers come on with an agenda
100%.
And they'll bait you. They'll say some, I mean, that's literally what Trump does when he's getting interviewed. He just says fucked up things to get in their head. And that's what happens in like interviews. You're in this weird battle.
Yeah.
No authenticity.
You can't hide in a long format. Like you can actually go into some depth and try to go, okay, well, that's interesting. Why do you think that? Or where does that go? And I mean, I love listening to Rogan and you guys. And I mean, I got like 20 podcasts that are in like rotation that I just like pop them. Oh, that's interesting. Give a listen.
Do you have a couple business ones, by the way, you really like?
Not really. Well, the All In podcast, if you know that one.
No.
All In podcast are these tech guys, PayPal mafia guys who have a lot. They're friends of Elon's, but they have strong opinions about all kinds of things tech related. So All In podcast is kind of a fun one. I don't know if it's quite business. It's business, but it's all kinds of things. They have really interesting interviews. Real estate ones. I mean, occasionally I'll listen to like Real Estate Rock Stars just because I was on that one. I'm like, oh, let's see what somebody else is doing, for multifamily or syndication, or, you can always learn something. But yeah, I don't know if I have a ton of those ones. Most of mine's entertainment. I will say it's probably not great, but since I was 45, I just can't sleep through the night. So my secret is I put in my ear pods and I put in like you guys, or I put in Joe Rogan, or maybe an episode I've heard before. And literally like, I'm just falling asleep to like the white noise of like this kind of light. I'm not trying to learn anything. I'm not like sucked in, and I can put it on low volume and it quiets my busy brain. Cause I just have this brain that just will not calm the fuck down. And, I probably should just meditate and do other things, but instead I put in podcasts and I literally fall asleep every night to them. So I'm always listening to something mostly moderately entertaining, humorous, mildly informative.
Yeah. Let's your brain just start to shut down a little bit.
I don't have to pay attention.
It's like people used to turn on the TV to go to bed.
Right. Yeah. Same exact thing.
Same concept, except it's not
100%.
Pretty colors and stuff.
And I know like, I think everybody on my walk does the same thing. We've all like hacked it. One like listens to like some Harvard thing about history, and the guy's got a super boring monotone, and that's what he falls asleep. Everyone's got their own podcast they listen to and fall asleep. It's so funny. It's not white noise. It's just AirPod and
well, it is usually white people talking. So it is white noise.
Oh, that's funny.
That should be a name for a podcast.
White noise. Oh my God.
Two albino dudes. Yeah, that works for me sometimes, but then sometimes they'll get on a subject and then I'm like fucking really thinking about it. I'm like, oh wow. So usually like if I listen to, I don't know, sometimes Huberman can be good because it's just like
he's pretty dry.
Yeah, it's just okay, whatever, and then I can just try.
I ran into him in so who's the little dude that wears a black and white suit all the time? Lex. Yeah, they were at Soho House the other day. Super nice guys. We hung out with them for a little bit, but yeah, it's cool. I mean, that's the thing. Like Austin has so many interesting people that pop in all the time. It's just, but I respect both of them. I listen to both their podcasts too. They're really, really good. There's some cool stuff coming here. Oh, and well, I don't know if I can talk about it yet, but my friend that's moving here for help for wellness and longevity stuff. So when I can bring him in, you guys should interview. There's a lot of health and wellness that's coming direction to Austin, where we're going to be like the worldwide epicenter for longevity and wellness and health. And I mean, I think if we can make it another 5 years, like we're going to add like 10 years to our lives with some of this stuff that they're coming out with. It's remarkable. Totally. But
can you talk a little bit about any of it?
I can't. God,
that's okay.
I'm not technically on an NDA on that. I'm on NDAs on so many stupid things, and I forget sometimes. So I got to be careful. Usually pretty good. This one I'm not. So they actually took the company. Oh shit! They were going to go public, and then it went privatized. It's a friend who's moving here, had a significant exit, client/friend, and he's got some incredible backing, and they have about $15 billion to be able to go acquire the best of the best in the wellness and longevity, and they're going to try to consolidate that massive amount of funds to be able to bring the absolute best of the best here. Cool. It's insane. So being able to even touch that, like I said, I end up in these weird rooms. I'm like, how did I get in this room, and what am I doing again? And I'm going to help them with their massive corporate relo and their commercial building, and like, just because he likes me and we're buddies, besides the residential stuff I'll help him and his crew with. So there's just so much stuff. I mean, if I start going down the roster, like my week is just, I look at, oh yeah, I did this and I hung out with this person and we talked about this, and I can't talk about that, but I can, you know what I mean? It's just, there's so much cool stuff going on in Austin. And so when these guys can talk about this stuff, I'll definitely recommend they chat with you guys, because you would dig this guy. He makes me look like a wallflower. Like the guy's got so much energy and so much passion, such an incredible story. He'd be a great interview.
Why do you think you get into these very interesting rooms and meet these wild characters?
I think I'm the same dude, no matter where you meet me and who. I'm like, I'm the same guy with the valet as I am with the guy who runs the company, as I am with his family and his kids and his wife. Like and going back to what we talked about, like just don't be authentic, be yourself, offer the best possible advice you can do, regardless of whether you make money or not. Like I think based on my history and my performance and what I've done, I just know more about Austin and developments and housing and than anybody that I know. I just don't know anybody that has the breadth of knowledge specific to what I do. And I study the Austin Business Journal, but I'm out in the field. I'm seeing these projects. I'm talking to developers. I know the jobs that are moving here. I know some of the stuff that people don't know of, like these massive companies that'll be moving here. And so there's no insider trading in real estate. So like I can offer insights in real estate to people that nobody else has because they're not aware of, hey, this is where SpaceX is going to move into. You probably want to buy some land there. The land around Giga Texas 10x'd in the last 3 years. This is only 2x'd. Would you like to see a 6x? Maybe you want to buy some land here. Totally fine, So knowing that where nobody else even knows that's the site location or whatever. And so I end up talking to people, and then it's just like personal connections. 90% of my business or more is Matt's super knowledgeable. You need to talk to him. And it's these guys that run these companies who have their peers are also doing some cool stuff. And then that's kind of how my business has evolved, where it's very much, other than my logo on the side of my truck, I don't have a billboard. I don't advertise. I'm consistently in the top 10 of residential agents in the city out of 20,000, but I'm the least well known. Like I don't, some Kumar and some of these people, their Instagram and they got their $15,000 bags and they're creating a brand for themselves, and I respect it. They're killing it in the residential space. And I love my residential clients, but I love doing a diverse amount of things, and I'm always wanting to learn, like, okay, I don't know anything about development 5 years ago. Well, now I have 2 developments with some partners that we're putting workforce housing we're trying to put together over in Lockhart and other housing in Seguin. And these are just like side projects that'll do a lot more for me than the residential work, even though I'm a top 10 agent and I do a ton of residential, these will eclipse those. And so I just love learning. And I love sharing this stuff with people. People see that and I don't know. And I'm approachable and I'm the same. I love my job and doing what I do and connecting people. Yeah. So I think that helps.
Yeah, I think you have something that a lot of people want, which is this knowledge, this sort of insider information. And that's stacked with your ability to talk, communicate, and then being a connector is huge. Like when you help other people make the connections, and what did Zig Ziglar say? You help enough people get rich, you'll get rich too. Yep. Something to that effect. Like you're making all these connections to people, and then you become seen as integral within that.
Correct. And I'm not doing it like, oh, well, you do this, you do this.
Yeah, it's not conscious.
Where's my piece? Like, you have those people that are like, oh, I'll connect you, but where's my referral?
Take it a little bit off the top.
Like and you can smell that on people too. Mm-hmm. Like I just like connecting cool people. And I've had multiple companies form out of conversations that I've just been like, you guys should have coffee. Let's go together. I mean, this morning is a perfect example. I can't talk about all of it, but like that has the ability to make these guys very wealthy.
I love how much secret shit you know that you're not allowed to talk about.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, but it happens quite a bit. And because people value their privacy.
Yeah.
And when they're ready to share, they will. So I just have to be conscious of that. So it's hard because I do know some stuff that is fascinating. I'm like, well, I'll talk about it when I can. Mm-hmm. And so, I knew about the Tesla location and where it was coming a year before they actually site selected because I helped point them in that direction. And I didn't know that I did that until the year later. My buddy's like, hey, we're going to celebrate. Let's do some shots at midnight. I'm going to FaceTime you. I'm like, well, what's up? He's like, well, we're moving the Gigafactory here. I'm like, cool. Where? He's like, you know where? I'm like, that other location that I told you not to go to? He's like, no, right where you pointed us. I'm like, motherfucker, I work in real estate. Like, how come you didn't call me do this? He's like, well, keep it all internal, but thank you, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, cool. And that was even before that got notified. And then they needed help with pushing through the business incentives that the county was going to give them. So we got the Tesla owners group to go on the Zoom calls at the time to talk to the county judges to get the approval for the business and tax abatements. And so, it's just, if you're just of service and really trying to help out people and I was giving my guy shit. I would have loved to have, been part of that purchase. It was sizable, but at the same time, like, it's just kind of cool to be in that circle. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, there's so much going on in Austin in so many different fields. And so, yeah, it's fun to be connected and to be trusted. And so that's why some of the stuff has to be secret, but it'll come out at some point.
It's like an entrepreneur's playground. Austin.
100%.
Like when I first got here, I would just meet people every day. I'd be voice texting Tony all the time. Like, bro, you fucking got to get here.
Every fucking day was a new voice note. Tony, you got to hurry up and get to Austin, bro. You got to hurry up and get down here.
I was just amazed. It was a complete, absolute opposite of Seattle.
Yeah.
No one's really doing much.
Yeah.
No one really wants to connect here. Getting clients, you can have conversations, you meet this person, and yeah, you can meet someone who's doing absolutely insane things, and they're just down to talk and have a conversation with you. Something about Austin and Texas and people migrating here, it's like everyone's on a certain wavelength. Like, let's connect, let's create, let's, be healthy. Like it has a very interesting, I don't know, supporting of entrepreneurs, people who love to connect. And yeah, I think this is such
people genuinely want to help other people here.
Yeah.
People hold the door for you and your family walking into a building. It doesn't happen in California or New York. People talk to strangers that are in a line with you and, oh, you're new here? Oh, you should go try this restaurant. I hear this again and again with clients that are visiting, and they're like, I feel such a genuine, like, connection with the people here. Is that unusual? I'm like, no, it's why people, I think, enjoy being here. And I hope we keep that attitude, but it definitely overflows into the business arena where, I have clients, some hedge fund guys that have moved here from New York that I'm working with, and they're like, man, it's not this way. It is dog eat dog, and everybody's out for themselves in an angle. And versus here, people are giving you like genuine help to grow your business, not asking for anything in return just because they want somebody they just met to do well. And he's like, this is so bizarre to these guys because they're like, down and dirty hedge fund dudes. I'm like, guys, now you have to do that too. Like, now that you're here, be cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and so
keep the vibe.
I think people adopt that when they get here. Hopefully they feel that, and hopefully they adopt that because it's so much more fun doing cool shit with people.
I've compared Austin to soap. It's very self-cleaning. So people come in, so you get people from Washington, from Seattle, from California, LA, whatever. The cool ones stay because they get it and they fit in with the vibe. They're on the same frequency. But like you said, you get the people that come in, if they don't assimilate to the community, to the culture, and they keep that sort of all for yourself mentality, I feel like they just move out because they can't stay with the heat, and then they got to go. And Austin just cleans itself, which is amazing.
I like that. That's good. Yeah. I hope that stays that way.
I hope so.
Because you don't want to become, what is it? Don't Dallasify my Austin, or, you see all these little T-shirts. And in the end, some people are like, oh, I don't want to tell people I'm from California. I'm like, nobody really cares.
Nobody gives a shit. We tell people from Seattle all the time. They're like, cool, welcome.
Also, if you moved here from California, there's a reason.
Yeah.
Because you do no longer agree. And if anything, if you're a Texan, you want those people to move over because they're probably so upset and don't want what's going on there that they will firmly continue the values.
They
that
hate
are here.
LA more than you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is good. Bring them.
No one can hate Seattle more than I hate Seattle.
That's true. No, I've never met a person that hates Seattle as much as Brent. I'm a close second, but Brent takes the cake for sure.
I'm the mayor of hating Seattle.
Yeah.
I should start my own Seattle hating club.
You should.
We'll do events and
yeah, I guess you wouldn't miss the weather there. That's one thing. I was in Laguna Beach a couple of weeks ago for a conference for 5 days, and Laguna is also Orange County. It's not, it's not the same mess that you've got in some of the other major metros, and the weather's perfect. I'm sitting looking at the Pacific. I'm like, God damn, I do miss this weather because it was like 100 and something that week. And
I have faith in California turning it around. I think maybe in the next 5-10 years, people will shift, things will shift. I feel like, in my mind, California will have like a resurrection, like a new rebirth. Who knows? Might be a long time, but I think, a lot of magic happened in California.
Yeah.
60s, 70s.
100%.
And to me, the way I describe Austin is like what it must have been like in California in the 70s. People are friendly, creative, there's all kinds of just alternative thinking and new businesses and all this stuff. It's just everyone seemed friendly. At least that's when I watch, what is it? Blow, the movie, and they're selling grass on the beach. I'm like, that reminds me of Austin. I feel like that must have been the vibe in California.
Oh my God, that's funny. Well, it's funny you say that actually, because I've got clients moving from Palo Alto to the Bay Area, Santa Monica. But from the Palo Alto Bay Area, there's one guy in particular, he runs like $5 billion in private family office wealth. Great guy. Grew up in Palo Alto, next to Stanford, and diehard, guy from there, has a place in Santa Monica, had an exit and then moved from one of his companies and moved here and ended up falling in love with it. He's like, I moved here for tax purposes, but like we go out to live music all the time. Like he's in the city and he's like, man, this is awesome. And so he's like, you know what this is? This is like, we are Palo Alto Bay Area with all the tech that's coming here circa 1999. People think, oh, it's so expensive. He's like, no, you go back to Palo Alto, go try to get the house next to, Steve Jobs' wife, go look at what that real estate can actually turn into, speaking to my line of work. And he's like, people have no idea the city and what's coming here because when we first moved here 16 years ago, I would have called Austin tech light. Like we had like HR and back office tech, right? We had Dell, we had a handful of things, AMD, but like a lot of it was like Apple was, a customer service and, international helplines and things like that. And then they started moving headquarters. And as those headquarters moved here, then you get that brain drain from the Bay Area or from other cities, and they're coming in. And then you get the startups that come around them, the little satellites around the suns, right, that are then pulling off the brain drain from those companies going, oh, software engineers pre-vetted by Google, thank you. Let's go down and have lunch underneath the Google building and pull them over to whatever these are. And then those startups, what do they need? Money. So then the money guys start moving here. Well, I'm seeing, VCs and people, Joe Lonsdale's here. He's got 8 VC, massive tech. Him and Peter Thiel were partners at Palantir. I mean, you've got our homegrown stuff as well for VC guys, but that money expansion that's going to support the startup waves that come because the big tech is here and you've got enough humanity that they can then pull from those and take them to startups and then have the money to be able to grow those. It's massive. And that's the story of the 90s and early aughts in the Bay Area and what's happened over the last 25 years and their trajectory in my focus in my world, real estate, right? So you start looking at that and go, okay, let's look on a chart. What's real estate done in the Bay Area from 1999 till 2024? Nothing's parabolic, but it's close to it. I mean, it's just like, and so for good or bad, it's happening. It's going to happen, and we're going to come out the other side of this doldrum that's created by the Fed keeping rates high, have very low inventory, have these tech companies come out of their doldrums, fill the Google building up with 4,500 software engineers in that 800,000 square foot sale building, and boom, absorb all the downtown luxury apartments that are sitting right now, right? I mean, so these things are coming still. Tech is not disappearing. Google's not disappearing. Apple's not disappearing. All these companies are here with plans. It's just everyone's having a pullback because of the greater macro caused by trying to keep a cap on inflation with this high interest rate. But the Fed can't keep that rate that high forever. It's longer than I expected. And the problem is they're just not breaking enough things yet. They got to break some more shit before they're going to lower the rates. And that's the question mark in my line of work is when are we going to get a break on interest rates? And it's going to turn. It's not going to be healthy when it does. It's going to be way too much absorption and not enough inventory, and it's going to be ugly. And so I'm not looking forward to it because really the only way to prevent inflation in housing is to build more housing. Everything they're doing right now is preventing more housing from being built because the developers are like, I can't afford to buy and hold these properties at 12% interest rate on a hard money note while I work on 1-year development programs to build one custom home that I'm not even sure will get absorbed until they can de-risk it by seeing the greater market trends get hot again. And so what we're doing right now, what the Fed's doing to cool inflation nationally in a city like us with a net positive migration is going to exacerbate housing inflation long term. And that's why it's a very simple supply and demand. I couldn't do calculus to save my life, but I can add and subtract. More humans coming in for good jobs, fewer housing getting built. The only reason we have this surplus is because nobody's absorbing because interest rates are too high. When interest rates go down, what's going to happen? They all turn into buyers. We don't have supply for years. We try to catch up. It'll take 5 years to catch back up to get a healthy stock again. And so it's going to exacerbate housing pricing here. And so once again, going back, don't be a seller. Hang on. Think about being a buyer. I mean, if I had more money, I would be buying. There's probably 4 properties I'm salivating for right now that I'm trying to. I actually talked to one of these guys this morning who's putting together something interesting. I mentioned a house next to his where he's renting, and I told him I negotiated $1 million off, 10% down, owner financing, 1 point origination. I turned it down. My client turned it down. I tried to convince my wife to let me buy it. She said no, because we had just set up our living trust. And my guy is like, you're in like 95% real estate and 5% Elon Musk Industries. I'm like, yeah. He's like, neither of those are doing real great right now. I'm like,
it's like diversify now.
I'm like, I know. He's like, the S&P, ETF last year was 26% increase. Like that would have been great. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But I can't help myself. I'm a real estate junkie, and
it'll all pay off.
Yeah, go all in.
You're all in.
Yeah. Well, $1 million off, and this person bought in 23 when the market was already soft.
Yeah,
and I negotiated $1 million off with that.
You want to go halvesies with us? We'll go halvesies.
Dude, it's a spectacular property. I just want to turn it into an Airbnb. It could throw off $25,000 a month.
How much do you need, Brent?
Guaranteed.
We'll figure it out.
$210,000.
We can figure
gets this done.
We can come up with $210.
Yeah, all right. Let's pull out.
We're gonna buy real estate.
Let's pull out our wallets.
We're gonna do it with you.
We will have fun. I will tell you, we will have
100%, 100%. You're my agent forever.
Yeah, and if you're in Austin, this is the guy to see, right?
This is the guy.
This is the guy.
You just blew our minds for 2 hours on real estate knowledge.
Oh, thank you.
And you actually explained it in a way that I understand, because so many times I try to delve into real estate. I don't fucking understand what you're saying to me at all.
4th grade teacher. 10 years of taking
fourth grade learning level.
Okay, good. It's perfect. That's my audience. But yeah, no, seriously, you take complex things, you make them simple. That's my job. I love putting puzzles together. I love putting deals together. I love helping people. And I think I can explain it in a way that's hopefully understandable. It's not complicated. People in every industry love to use acronyms and make everything sound so complicated. And it's like, no. It's understandable. Friggin' take 5 minutes and explain it in a way that's anybody could understand. It's not hard. Here's what you do. Step 1, step 2, step 3. You educate somebody to the options. I tell people I don't work in sales. I've never sold anything in my life. I work in enthusiastic education. I love what I do. I love figuring out where the market is and where the opportunities are. And I love educating people to the point where they self-direct the decision. I just lay out the education options and then they're ready to make a move. And so that's why I love my job, because I'm not, our line of work is so horrible. I've been to a couple of brokerage trainers for competing brokerages to mine, where I'm just like, why do these people suck so bad? Like, why do my clients walk into an open house and they get attacked by these people? And they're like, oh, we're better agents. We'll help you better. Did you sign a buyer's rep agreement? Did you do this? If not, no, you need to sign in here. And then they just hound them. And they're just like so fucking hungry, and they're full out of a script, use their name 5 times in the first 1 minute. And get them to say in the affirmative. Wouldn't you like to have more money? Wait for a pause until they say in the affirmative, yes. I mean, like literally, I've seen these cheese bix fucking scripts. It's disgusting.
It's insane.
It's like manipulation. People feel icky. Like
it is.
I'm the anti-ick. You know what I mean? Like, you will make the decision when you're comfortable. You want to wait 2 years? I just had a client who was going to move here, buy a $15 million house. And she came out with the wife and she's like, it's too hot. I'm like, hey, totally respect that. She's like, he's going to work there, probably a smaller condo downtown. I'm staying in California. We're going to go back and forth. He's still going to move his business. You'll help him with that. But thank you so much. I spent 3 days with these people and I could be upset about it, but I'm not. I'm like, dude, that's the decision for you guys. Great idea. Like, I get it. I don't want to be here in the summer. Like, we're going to Spain for July, hopefully into August. Like, nice. Northern Spain, 76 degrees, sit at the beach, maybe take some mushrooms, hang out, chill. Like, that's a nice little break. So I get it, but that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to get them to, that would be a nice commission. No big deal. Like, they're going to make the move when they're ready. And eventually his company's going to move here. They're going to have to move here. I just told her, just get a place in Aspen or Telluride and go there in the summer and go there in the winter and get out of Dodge. But anyway, so yeah, it's a different education level that I think I offer. And it makes me feel good about my job.
Well, you're coming at it from a place of not scarcity. It's like you have this abundance, and so you don't care if the sale is made. Like, I work in sales. I train a ton of salespeople.
Yeah.
And what you talked about, like these scripts and say their name 5 times and pause here and wait here and use this tonality. Like, there's some value to it, but it's so old school and people can smell it. They smell your commission breath and it's so cheesy. And it doesn't fucking work. And so the number one thing I instill in every sales rep I work with is, one, you have to have you truly have to fucking believe in the thing you sell. 100%. If you don't have that, don't sell it. Get the fuck out. And then 2, detach yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you care about that sale, you're already on the back foot and you're going to come off weird. Like, you have to just be okay with them making their decision. And you can lead them. Like sales is leadership. You're just leading them through these things. And like you said, explaining the processes. Explain like I'm 5. Right? They have to understand, because a confused prospect never buys. So you have to be super clear with people. And to do that, you have to really understand what you're selling.
Slow is fast.
Yep. Unless there's a fire, then you need to get out of there pretty quick.
But I mean, like, you take your time with the clients, and you're hanging out, and you're just a good hang. Like, I'll be like, hey, let's go to Soho House and grab some drinks after this and decompress and just, okay, not even talk about it. What are your kids up to? Whatever. I mean, like, it's just it's a different pace, I think, that I like to go at. And
I do the same thing with clients. Come in for a free workout. They finish. I'm like, great. Let me know how you feel, and if you want to keep going. And don't even share rates. Don't share nothing. It's just, I know there's an abundance of people, and the right ones will find you. And if you just give and serve, it just all works out.
Yeah.
You just keep planting those seeds.
Yeah. Always come from a place of service.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, Matt Holm, fuck yeah. Thank you for being here.
Thank you guys. This was awesome. This was fun.
Super
Check
fun.
off a fun box.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I'm about to go do some more fun stuff.
Yeah.
What are you going to go do?
The rodeo tomorrow.
Rodeo's tomorrow. I'm going to go to my buddy's house. We're getting electric motorcycles. We're going to cruise around downtown, maybe play some ping pong at Smash ATX, and then head home. We have dinner with Marco and Ashley.
Nice.
And going to go check out their new baby. And then these hedge fund dudes want to go to the Betty. Is that a thing?
Oh yeah, cool spot.
I'm probably going to deposit them and then go back home. I'm not a try not to be a late night guy. And last night kicked my butt. I mean, Justin Timberlake came on like 2 hours after the doors, and we got home at like 12:30. I'm usually like asleep by 9:30. So it was late. I didn't like the lateness of it, but
for sure.
But yeah, it'll be fun. So I'm gonna go cruise around town a little bit with my buddy, and he owns this electric vehicle company. So he's like always trying out new products. He's got this badass new super fat tire off-road electric motorcycle.
Sick.
It's called the Vulcan. Let me get it right. Vulcan. Right? Volcom with an M is the brand in Nordstrom's.
Right.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
So Volcon.
It's like a skater brand.
Volcon, not M. Go look it up. I'm going out on this thing called the Grunt, and it's just like this badass fat tire. It looks like, those little mini bikes that have the fat tires, except make it huge. And it's electric. So fun. So he's going to let me cruise around in that downtown.
Yeah. I want an electric bike so bad. I send him all the time different electric, because you can go on bike trails, right? Because it's technically
if you got pedals, like, and
it looks like a fucking motorcycle.
Yeah.
And it goes pretty fast, right?
He's got an entry level one that's like a couple grand. That's awesome. It's got like a 70-mile range. It goes 28 miles an hour. It looks like a retro 1940s motorcycle.
Nice.
It's like got like these white wall tires on it. Go look up the website.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can get you a manufacturer discount on it if you want to get one. But we drive those around all the time. I've got 2 of those. I'm trying to get Anna on it. Anna's like, anything on 2 wheels? She's like, no.
Yeah.
We go down for ACL. We'll ride those bikes down. But that's about it. But anyway, so more fun.
Yeah, cool. How do people connect with you if they want to buy real estate?
People think it's weird, but I give out my personal phone number. It's the only number to get a hold of me. Text or phone call is the best way.
Okay.
So you can put it in the link 512-769-1695. I have structured my life so if you send me an email, you're going to see 5 different layers to get to me, because I've got staff that sits in front of a computer. I have not touched a computer in 3 years. So my best use is sitting with clients.
After my own heart.
I hate computers.
I fucking hate them too.
And my business is super heavy on contracts and the rest of this. So I have like 16 years licensed agents that literally just sit, beck and call. She's amazing. I gave her a Tesla as a little bonus. She drives around.
That's what I
and she's 7 days a week. I can call her at 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning and go, hey, I need this contract written up. And it's faster than if I had to wait to get home to write a contract. And if we're in a competing bid or something, like, it's amazing. So like, I've just figured out what I like to do, and I only do what I like to do, which is customer, client, friend facing. Yeah. Offering this education. Hey, get in my car. Let's do like a 3-hour tour of Austin. Let me show you. And I have clients that have been here for 10 years and they spend like 2 or 3 hours with me in the truck. And they're like, holy shit, I've learned more about Austin in 3 hours than I've known for 10 years living here. Like, I didn't even know these neighborhoods existed. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. And then that's step 1 of the education. And then it's like, let's go grab dinner. Let me meet your wife or your spouse. And let's, and so that's all the stuff I like to do. I don't want to touch a computer. It's not fun.
I love that. I'm trying to work towards being a Matt Holm, where I can just run around and talk to people all day long. But this is part of it. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you, guys.
Dude,
yeah,
Matt,
this was awesome.
Thank you for coming, man.
Yeah, thanks you guys. This was fun. Appreciate it.
Awesome, brother.
Yeah.